Hello, fellow pipe smokers, and welcome to Willow A.K. Piper. I'm Papa Bear. Okay, got my Greca here. I didn't finish the bowl of flake. It's still there. Yeah, it's good and packed. So anyway, let's finish it off, shall we? Why I Came to Alaska, Part 2. Well, wow, that's a good hit. Well, you know, when I was a young man, 5 or 6, I guess, or should I say a little boy, my father was going back and forth from Alaska, I guess. You know, he'd go off for like 3 weeks or a month and then come back for a week or two and then go back to Alaska. He was working on the slope. Oil fields, I guess. So he's a journeyman electrician, and my mom has pictures of him standing next to a small plane with skis on it, dressed in a parka and stuff like that. And I always wondered about Alaska, what it would be like. Oh, and you're going to laugh too. When I was on the plane flying to Juneau, I was sitting next to a guy that was from Alaska, and I was asking him about all the Eskimos and the igloos and stuff like that, and you know, and it's like I thought I was going to Alaska to live with the Eskimos and live in igloos and, you know, hunting seals and stuff like that. I'm serious. That was the way it was portrayed to me that was Alaska. And so I was making this bold jump to Alaska to have a wild adventure with the Eskimos in the igloos. And everybody on the plane was laughing at me. I guess, well, not really laughing at me, well, maybe laughing at me, but I had looking back on it now, I get a good chuckle out of it because you know, that's what I thought Alaska was. You know, when they showed, you know, in school, when they showed films of Alaska, it was the Eskimos and the igloos and dog sleds, and you know, and that's what I thought Alaska was. Well, it still is, but it's not here in Willow. Well, the dog sleds are, but you gotta go pretty far north to live in igloos and hunt seals and stuff like that out on the pack ice. But that's what I thought I was going to. And reality set in when the plane landed in Juneau. Yeah. But I had quite the adventure in Southeast Alaska. I took the ferry to Seattle a couple of times, went through the Inside Passage. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. Whales and orcas and bears on the beach, and oh, man, this was good times. And I'll tell you, all of the time I spent in Juneau, minus 6 months, was spent out in the woods. That's right. I was being my version of a mountain man. Lived in tents, tree houses, small rustic cabins. You know, it was It was quite interesting. And I used to be a professional dumpster diver too. That's right, we'll touch on this a little bit. Juneau used to throw away some of the most amazing food just because the barge was coming down the channel, and they just start tossing everything, and that was even close to being out of date or out of date. And I would get scores of like one time it was 66 cases of mandarin oranges, 32 cases of bananas, and 10 cases of mushrooms. One other time it was half the dumpster was filled with ice cream. Del Monte Fun Fruits. I had a double bag full of those things, and when I got done eating those things, I'll never touch them again. And one of my stints in an apartment was short-lived, albeit. I had this roommate named Troy. Troy was a drummer in a band called JC Hero. And he says, "Where'd you get these peaches?" And I go, "Got them from the dumpster." So he threw them away. So I dug them back out of the garbage can, made peach cobbler with it. He came home from work, saw peach cobbler, ate half of the peach cobbler, and he says, "Tony, this is the most wonderful peach cobbler I've ever had. Where did you get the peaches?" And I go, "You remember the peaches you threw away because they were from the dumpster?" And he says, "Yeah." And it says, "That was the peach cobbler." And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to die. You know, it was so funny, man. It was so funny. And I did get to talk to his dad one time. And his dad says, "Oh yeah, you're the dumpster driver guy. Yeah, I heard all about you. Oh yeah, I'm famous, man. I'm famous." Short version of the dumpster diver story is that Juneau no longer throws away all that food. Instead, they got this little program called Helping Hands, and it was almost named after me. But according to the church people, the Christians, they didn't want to reward me for my criminal activity. Yep, that's right. I'm a criminal. I'm a professional dumpster driver. And I would take food down to like St. Vinny's and stuff like that and just give it to them. And I'd go to low-income housing and I'd give away food and stuff like that. And I was quite the guy. I'd take food down to Glory Hole Homeless Shelter. Now, here's the thing. I brought in peaches from the dumpster at Foodland, and I set them down, and next to it, in a bowl on the counter at the homeless shelter were rotten peaches. And so I asked this guy named Bill, I says, "Bill, which one of these peaches," and I put them in a bowl too. So I says, "Which one of these bowls of peaches came from the dumpster and which one came as a donation from Foodland?" And he points at the good peaches. He goes, "These came as a donation." I go, "No. The rotten peaches came from Foodland. These came out of the dumpster. Do you know what they're throwing away?" Well, Bill brought this up to the director. The director brought it up to Foodland, and Foodland told them that if they ever took food from me again, they would never get a donation. Now, why is it that the store, trying to be a good citizen, is giving a homeless shelter rotten food or half-rotten food, and the food that I'm pulling out of the dumpster is perfect? You see what I'm getting at? Yeah. Anyway, I was arrested for dumpster diving and charged with trespassing or whatever like that, you know, being behind a building. And from then on, when I would be walking down the road with a backpack, the cops would stop me, and they would check my backpack for food. And if I didn't have a receipt for the food that was inside because I could no longer dumpster dive, they would take it from me. So this one time I went shopping at Fred Meyer's. And I filled up, got canned goods and got some other stuff. You know, I lived out in the woods. And I was walking down the road. I was waiting for the bus to come so I can go to my place on North Douglas Island. Douglas Island, it was North Douglas. Cop stopped. I said, "Hey, what do you got in that backpack?" And I go, "Food." And I go, "Where'd you get it?" I go, "Fred Meyer's." "Where's your receipt?" I says, I don't have a receipt. They took $120 worth of food from me, confiscated it, and left me with nothing. Because, homeless people don't have rights. When I was in Juneau, I was told by a judge in a court of law that because I didn't live at a residential address, I had no rights. I was going to sue those people for doing that to me. When I got the transcript from the court hearing, that part was missing. Now, the judge could have made a nod to the stenographer to stop typing or something like that, but it takes a prosecutor, a judge, and a stenographer to all three conspire to pull it from the record. In other words, they told me I had no rights. I was saying, hey, look, I got freedom, liberty, and justice for all, the right to pursue happiness. Oh, unless you're homeless, you have no rights. That's all I'll say about the homeless thing, because it really pisses me off. It makes my blood boil just even thinking about that. And I spent many years trying to forget. Many years trying to forget. Even when I came to Willow, all those years ago, 20 years ago, I was still ranting and raving about what they did to me in Juneau. Yeah. It took quite a while. It took it wasn't until probably 99 that I just kind of let it go. Yeah. Well, anyway, talking too much, not smoking enough. I think this is where the tamper comes in. Yep. Got half a bowl left. Alright. Well, this is the end of part 2. This is going to make for some interesting videos, because I've always wanted to chronicle my life in Alaska for the last 29 years. And you get to hear about it first. Well, thank you very much for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, thumb me up, thumb me down, send me a video response. Until next time, this is Papa Bear. Peace and sweet smokes to you.